So Coinbase holds 2.5 million Bitcoin, making them not only the biggest holder of Bitcoin in the entire world, but also the biggest exchange in the entire world. But if they were so trustworthy, why did BlackRock today silently move a massive portion of their $45 billion Bitcoin stash away from Coinbase to a tiny firm that is 10% of the size of Coinbase? And we only got this information because of a leaked SEC filing from BlackRock. And again, I want you guys to remember this is not the first time that BlackRock has tried to distance itself from the world's biggest Bitcoin exchange. Today, I want to answer the question: does Coinbase hold the 2.5 million Bitcoin they are sitting on, or are they playing a paper Bitcoin attack game against not only Bitcoin, but all of the people that trust it to hold its coins? And if you stick to the end of today's video, I also want to walk through 3 hypothetical scenarios of a Coinbase endgame. What would happen if Coinbase is playing paper Bitcoin games like FTX, Celsius, and BlockFi were in 2022? What would happen if the US government 6102'd Coinbase's 2.5 million coins? Again, we're going to be walking through the end game at the end of today's video. First, I want to break down the most recent news that literally broke today. I wasn't going to do a live stream today, but I saw this news fly across my desk and I thought, boy, I have to give you guys a BlackRock Coinbase update. Here it is. BlackRock expands Bitcoin custody beyond Coinbase. SEC filings reveal that Anchorage Digital will safeguard a portion of Bitcoin for BlackRock's $45 billion iShares Bitcoin Trust. Now, why did this happen? BlackRock cites the move as part of its quote-unquote ongoing risk management. That's a bit interesting. BlackRock is moving Bitcoin away from the world's largest and supposedly safest exchange to a firm called Anchorage Digital. Now, I did some digging for you guys, and as I found here, Anchorage Digital is a crypto platform for institutions, and it has a valuation of $3 billion. This is literally 90% smaller than Coinbase. This is strange. This is really interesting. Now, this gets even more strange when we jump on over to this article here and we look at what everybody's favorite ETF guru and expert, Eric Balchunas, says. So here's the headline of the article: BlackRock has a new Bitcoin custodian besides Coinbase. Now, let's rewind back in time a little bit to listen to the words of what Eric Balchunas previously said about a lot of the speculation and conspiracy theories surrounding yours truly, BlackRock and Coinbase. Because we've made some videos about BlackRock and Coinbase months and months ago. And we said, hey, hang on a minute, there could be some really interesting developments here if Coinbase is not holding the Bitcoin they're supposed to. Because who remembers this article? BlackRock amends Coinbase custody agreement to require a 12-hour withdrawal amid debt rumors. To refresh your memory, what was happening back in late 2024, there was a lot of speculation going on from some leaked documents that showed that Coinbase and BlackRock were settling their Bitcoin transactions off-chain. So this means technically, based upon the wording in some of these documents, they weren't really settling Bitcoin on-chain. They were settling a lot of these Bitcoin transactions with cash. And there was also a little bit of more ambiguity in the language between BlackRock and Coinbase. Now, this is why BlackRock was forced to you can see it, change their custody agreement with Coinbase. Now, what's interesting is we can see this third little highlighted paragraph I want to show you. I want to read this one first for good reason. Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas refuted these allegations, stating that BlackRock would act if Coinbase were quote unquote screwing around with their Bitcoin. He emphasized that such behavior would violate regulations and that BlackRock is serious about its operations. Oh, hang on a minute. If Coinbase were quote unquote screwing around, BlackRock would act. Hang on a minute. So this is a quote from late 2024 from the ETF expert himself, from the ETF expert who has said that crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists like us are wrong for speculating about BlackRock and Coinbase's solvency. He said if Coinbase were screwing around, BlackRock would act. Okay, well, isn't this exactly what has happened today? BlackRock has a new Bitcoin custodian besides Coinbase. Well. What do we think about this? Don't you think it's a little bit interesting, the timing of this? I certainly do, because right now at the time of recording, we can see some really large transfers happening between BlackRock and Coinbase. Have a look at this. BlackRock offloads $254 million in Bitcoin. What's going on? Great question. I'm glad you asked. What is going on? Okay, well, there are rumors. All we do know is that these rumors are circulating and they are getting more interesting by the day, because as we can see, is Coinbase issuing paper Bitcoin to BlackRock and other ETFs? This is the speculation, but there is more than just speculation to this story. We have facts, we have data, and we have some really interesting charts I want to show for you guys. These charts are so interesting and so important that I'm going to zoom it up and I'm going to make it as big as possible for you guys to see what I'm looking at right now. I think this chart is very, very important to take notice of, because again, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of rumors. Obviously, we now have Coinbase and BlackRock officially parting ways a little bit here, okay, with this new announcement. But have a look at how much Bitcoin has left Coinbase over the past, let's have a look at that, over the past 3 to 4 years. Since 2021, Coinbase has seen an absolute plummet in the amount of Bitcoin on their exchange. A lot of this has been moving to Coinbase custody setups, which is really interesting, because when you include Coinbase custody alongside the exchange, Coinbase, as you can see, is squatting on 12% of all of the Bitcoin. That's what I have highlighted on this chart. And when you run the numbers, that works out to be 2.5 million Bitcoin. They are the biggest holder of Bitcoin. They are the biggest exchange of Bitcoin. But we are continually told, do not fear. Of course, Coinbase holds the Bitcoin they're supposed to hold. Again, I mean, the data is pretty interesting. I mean, the data very clearly shows that the amount of Bitcoin on Coinbase is rapidly evaporating. So this is showing us right now around 650,000 Bitcoin has left Coinbase over the past 4 years. But we are told, come on guys, don't worry about Coinbase's solvency. I mean, have a look at this. I love this article. This is so good. So this article, experts weigh in on Coinbase, BlackRock, paper Bitcoin, spot ETF rumors. Oh, hello. the experts. Have a look at this. Skeptics are spreading unsubstantiated rumors that Coinbase may not actually be buying the real Bitcoin requested by ETF funds, but instead issuing what they call paper Bitcoin or IOUs, paper Bitcoin attack. Let's have a look here. These rumors spread far enough on social media platforms to warrant a response from Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. Oh, hello. Armstrong waved off the concern, saying all ETF mints and burns we process ultimately settle on chain. But again, is this true? Why did BlackRock have to officially amend their custody agreement with Coinbase in late 2024 if there was nothing shady happening? Come on. Eric Balchunas, the expert himself, said in this highlighted section, BlackRock would act if Coinbase were screwing around with their Bitcoin. That's exactly what's just happened. Coinbase has faced the music because BlackRock has just acted. They're now using a tiny firm called Anchorage Digital. Boy, I love this story. It's just getting more and more interesting by the second. Now, here's Brian Armstrong's tweet. He had to officially tweet about this. Again, ask yourself, what is the CEO of the largest Bitcoin exchange in the world doing by having to, respond to unsubstantiated rumors? If they really were just unsubstantiated rumors and there was nothing to them, why did he have to write an essay on Twitter? Don't you think that's interesting? I mean, you'd think he'd have better things to do if he's custodying 2.5 million Bitcoin. Fighting lawsuits, he's battling the SEC with all of the altcoins that he promotes. Boy, that's interesting. That is really interesting. And look what he says. So Goldilocks here. I love that. That is funny. So he essentially breaks down the whole thing. He says all funds are settled in our prime vaults on chain within 1 business day. This is what he says. He essentially says here in this tweet, which is really interesting, trust us, bro. He says, our institutional clients don't want people looking at their addresses. It's not our place to share for them. This is what it looks like if you want institutional money to flow into Bitcoin. So people are asking for transparency. He refuses to give it. As for Coinbase BTC, that's the wrapped token, the wrapped version of Bitcoin. Yes, you're trusting a centralized custodian to store the underlying BTC. We've never claimed otherwise. Trust me, bro. And again, there was a tweet that was deleted in this chain. All the more interesting. But what else is all the more interesting is that we are continually told to look away from such rumors. And we've even been attacked with ad hom. Have a look at this. Look at this ad hominem attack. Conspiracy theorists got new ammo when BlackRock filed an amendment to its ETF registration with the SEC that requires Coinbase to release Bitcoin to the asset manager within 12 hours of notice when customers buy shares of its Bitcoin ETF. Other vocal critics online have gone as far to say that BlackRock can take as much Bitcoin as they want from Coinbase through transactions recorded off-chain. Again, I'm really skeptical of anything happening off-chain. Oh, and here we go. Don't you love this? However, Bloomberg ETF analyst, the expert, Eric Balchunas, said those are unfounded conspiracy theories. Oh boy, this just gets better. This isn't like FTX, where you just throw up an exchange out of nowhere and some buffoon is running it out of the Bahama penthouse. Oh no, Coinbase is very different. BlackRock is a serious company that has dozens of lawyers. They're not going to blow their well-earned reputation, let alone get sued by all of their investors. This is what the expert is saying. Oh, here we go. To further debunk these rumors, Balkunas said that after speaking to BlackRock himself, he was able to confirm the asset manager operates its own blockchain node and routinely verifies Bitcoin balances from their wallet addresses on Coinbase Prime. Again, trust the expert. ETF analyst Balkunas said those are unfounded conspiracy theories. What else has our expert said? I'm going to repeat myself. He also said BlackRock would act if Coinbase was screwing around with their Bitcoin. And now BlackRock has acted. So what's true, Eric? Are the conspiracy theories now true? Are these unfounded and wild speculations? Should we trust you? Was what you said 3 months ago now not true? Because BlackRock has acted. Just questions. Just simple questions that I want all of the 654 of you guys on this live stream to ask yourself. Because we are routinely told, trust the experts. Oh no, BlackRock is nothing like the Bahamas FTX project ran by a buffoon in a penthouse. Oh, no. We are told, trust the experts, trust BlockFi, trust Celsius. Again, what did they tell us about BlockFi? Oh, they're a US regulated exchange. Trust BlockFi. Oh, FTX can't be printing paper Bitcoin. They hold 80,000 Bitcoin. They've got a $50 billion market cap. Their name is sprawled all across the jerseys of all of the NBA referees. It's on every stadium, every sporting stadium in America. There is no way FTX could be creating paper Bitcoin. They were nearly the biggest exchange in the Bitcoin space in 2022. Doesn't it sound familiar? Jake Thomas says the great reset has begun. Maybe the great Bitcoin reset is about to begin. Maybe that's why BlackRock is repositioning itself here. Maybe that's why BlackRock is moving to Anchorage Digital. So here it is. This is the news. I'm going to show you the SEC filing to show you the source where all of these quote unquote unsubstantiated rumors and speculations are coming from. Boy, I wish I had my, hang on. Boy, have a look at this. The rumors and the unsubstantiated speculations from wild tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists online just continue to get further validated, don't you think? Boy. Sorry, I'm feeling wild today. I'm fired up because I'm sick of being told that we have to listen to the experts. So let's have a look here. The asset manager BlackRock has entered into a custodial service agreement with Anchorage as per its brand new breaking Form 8K filing with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, again, we are not speculating and spreading wild, unsubstantiated rumors on the internet. This is the brand new SEC filing from BlackRock, dated as of 2 days ago. We only got the news today. Maybe there was a little bit of shuffling in the past 48 hours before all of this became public news. Like I teased you guys in the introduction, BlackRock just made an enormous $254 million Bitcoin transfer with Coinbase. That is one of their biggest transfers ever in the first 15 months of their ETF agreement. Why today? Why is this happening 2 days after BlackRock officially ditches Coinbase for a tiny firm with $3 billion of assets under management, Anchorage Digital? Who is Anchorage Digital? God, I don't know. I have no idea. But here's the source. This is the official SEC filing. BlackRock had to submit 2 days ago, but we only found out about today, this morning. Again, I wasn't planning on doing this live stream today, but I really wanted you guys to get this news from an unbiased source, somebody who's not best friends with BlackRock and Coinbase and TradFi, telling us not to worry. But as we can see very clearly, on April 7th, BlackRock has entered a custodial agreement with Anchorage Custodian. This is Anchorage Digital Bank. This is the news. This is an official SEC filing. These are not just Twitter rumors. BlackRock has acted. They've taken their Bitcoin, or a stash and amounts of their Bitcoin, away from Coinbase to Anchorage Digital. This is a recent change, and I think this is the kind of, let's call it data, that should really get us thinking. And this is why I do want to go through these endgame scenarios. And what would a potential endgame look like? Because I think we're seeing more and more signs that Coinbase will not be the bank of choice for these ETFs in the future, despite them being an official partner of 7 of these ETFs today. So we can see here, SEC revokes unpopular banking rule that blocked Wall Street banks from adopting crypto. Again, look at the date of this article. This is January 2024. This is literally just after Coinbase and BlackRock officially amended their custody agreement. BlackRock, I think, was not happy with having to deal with Coinbase. Again, I think these rumors just get even more interesting. Even more interesting by the day. This is why I do want to really kind of break down what is going on. Is Coinbase issuing paper Bitcoin to BlackRock and other ETFs? What does an endgame look like? What would happen if Coinbase were to blow up? What would happen if they were to be 6102'd? These are all questions I think that need to be answered. There's also a ton of questions in the chat. Oversoul, I don't keep much of anything on Coinbase. So that's the name, Coinbase. I don't think you should keep anything on Coinbase. Also a great comment here from Stuart. Not all Bitcoin on Coinbase is available for sale. I expect squeeze on supply sooner than most expect. You've been listening, my friend. The squeeze is coming. And again, I really do think we don't have that much time left to get our Bitcoin out of the exchanges. Again, I really just strongly believe we should not be trusting these kind of exchanges like Coinbase. Absolutely not. It's ridiculous that we are told by the experts, oh, trust the experts. Just blindly trust. The entire ethos of Bitcoin is to not trust. Do not trust, verify. I do think it's interesting that the propaganda narrative is really picking up steam right now. It really is. It's incredible watching the narrative really pick up and accelerate here. Now, again, I highly encourage you guys, do not use Coinbase. I'm going to try and be impartial here, but what I will tell you is just do not use an exchange who's not transparent and holds a lot of altcoins. I think it's incredibly dangerous. I just think it shows it's a little bit of a moral and an ethical red flag when the exchange you're supposed to trust is also shilling thousands of altcoins to its customers just to make a quick buck. Okay, who knows what kind of agreements Coinbase will enter into the future with said government to make a quick buck. You might think you're holding Bitcoin on Coinbase. What happens if Coinbase is 6102'd? We're going to be exploring that when we do explore the Bitcoin endgames and the Coinbase endgames at the end of today's video. It's just some hypothetical thought experiments I want to go through with you guys. But what I will say is if you've got Bitcoin on Coinbase or if you're looking for a solution or an alternative, I always encourage you guys to check out what the Bitcoin Well is doing. Again, they're our show partner because they force you to take self-custody of your Bitcoin by default. I love them. morally, ethically aligned with our channel's principles, taking self-custody of your Bitcoin. Bitcoin Well is also really cool because once you get started buying on Bitcoin Well, you're going to see an interface that looks like this. And what's really cool is when you're buying Bitcoin on the Bitcoin Well, you're going to be getting these tokens. These are wishing well tokens. And what's really cool about the Bitcoin wishing well is you can play this game. And again, if you're watching at home, get your phones out because whoever can scan this barcode the quickest just won 2,100 Satoshis. So what's cool about the Bitcoin Well is once you're buying Bitcoin on the Bitcoin Well, you get these tokens and you can do exactly what I just did. You can play the Bitcoin wishing well and you can go into the draw to win 1% of an entire Bitcoin. That is 0.01 Bitcoin. I think that's going to be generational wealth. Today, that's worth about $750. Right now, we just won 2,100 Satoshis online. So highly recommend you to grab your Lightning wallet, take advantage of those sats while they're on screen. Again, it's a race, first in, best dressed. And again, sign up with the Bitcoin Well. We have a link in the description of today's show for you guys to sign up and use a promo code GREENCANDLE to actually begin earning those tokens when you're buying Bitcoin on the Bitcoin Well. Okay? And again, stay clear. Buy the real Bitcoin. Buy the real Bitcoin from Bitcoin Well. Put it in your own custody. Because here, as Sean in the chat says, does this mean that BlackRock potentially bought fake Bitcoin? Now, again, I don't have a strong opinion on this. I have seen people who have traced supposedly addresses and wallets that belong to BlackRock, showing that they do hold the real Bitcoin. I have seen proof of that. Again, I'm just trying to show you the other side of the story that we are not shown. Because everybody's scared to talk about the other side of the story or what could go wrong because we're told that the experts are right. We are told, listen to the experts. These rumors spread far enough on social media. Conspiracy theorists got new ammo. Again, I think anybody who challenges these ideas and the solvency of these big firms just gets labeled a conspiracy theorist. I think it's really lazy thinking from TradFi thought gurus to just label anything as a conspiracy theory that with something that they disagree with. And again, we all know the mainstream media is let's be honest. Who they are is propaganda peddlists. I think they are the real conspiracy theorists. We can see here, this recent article I showed you guys in another stream this week. For Bitcoin bulls who self-custody crypto, the global risks are growing. Oh, isn't that scary? For you and I who self-custody our Bitcoin. Oh, don't buy your Bitcoin at the Bitcoin Well. CNBC is saying that's dangerous. But why? Let's have a look. CNBC said, I'm going to zoom up so you guys can see it. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. Wars and extreme weather, with examples in recent years from Israel to California, show that keeping crypto in the personal version of a bank vault has its own set of unique and evolving risks. Oh, wow. What is CNBC trying to say? That's interesting. Most people secure their Bitcoin with one private key. If that key is on a single device or written down on paper as a seed phrase, it's a single point of failure. If you lose that key, your Bitcoin is gone. Now, this is true. This is 100% true. This is why I always encourage you guys, do not write down your Bitcoin backup phrases on paper. I always encourage you guys, stamp them into titanium. As you can see, these titanium plates that I always recommend you guys to have a look at, these things will protect your Bitcoin, 12 or 24 words. Again, CNBC might be true about something. In a fire, if you're living somewhere that routinely sees fires, hurricanes, floods, or if you just have kids or pets around the house that might eat or chew your precious piece of paper that holds the backup to your Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin is not life-proof in these scenarios, which is why I encourage you guys to check out what Stampseed is making. Again, CNBC, sure. I mean, they do make a good point. Bitcoin written down on paper is not going to survive extreme weathers or wars. But I think the angle that CNBC was going for in this article was trust BlackRock, trust Coinbase. It's dangerous to self-custody your Bitcoin. I'm telling you it's not dangerous. I'm telling you, ignore the fear-mongering. As we can see, CNBC says, some crypto investors prefer to custody their own digital assets like Bitcoin with private keys stored on hardware wallets in cold storage versus using crypto brokerage firms and other third-party digital custody options. They're trying to say these crypto brokerages and third-party digital custody options are safer. This is what they're trying to say. Following the wildfires this year in California, social media posts began to appear with claims of Bitcoin losses. Isn't it sad? With some users showing metal plates intended to protect seed phrases burnt up and illegible. This is very true. This is why I tell you, do not use stainless steel, use titanium. I only learned there was a difference between a lot of these metal plate companies when I partnered up with Stampseed. They taught me, oh, no, Luke, we are not just a metal plate company. We create titanium plates. These are far superior than stainless steel plates, which is what most of the other companies create. They can create higher margins and make more money with stainless steel because it's more common. Again, this is why I partnered with Stampseed. They don't care so much about making so much money. They create titanium and they offer you a product at a pretty, let's call it what it is, affordable and competitive price. Highly recommend you guys check out Stampseed. Again, you guys can get 15% off anything you want to buy from Stampseed with a promo code Luke15. That is also linked down below in the description. Do not become another person who lost their Bitcoin in the wildfires. Stainless steel is okay, but again, as we just found out, it's not the best. Get titanium plates. And again, don't completely ignore the propaganda being spread by CNBC because some of it is true, but just be aware of solutions. Let's answer some questions, and then we're going to go through my 3 hypothetical thought experiments for what would happen in a Coinbase endgame, because I think that's important to run through. XX says, self-custody is what kicked the boomers out of BTC, the large wealth holders in the US. Please wake up. Yeah, boomers are scared of self-custody. Same way I'm scared to go set up a bank account. I don't want to wait in line for 2 hours and sign all of this paper and hand over all of my ID to set up another bank account. Takes an hour or 2. I don't want to do it. I think it takes less time to learn how Bitcoin hardware wallets work, personally. Michael makes an interesting point as well. Be careful buying hardware wallets online because they will have your address. Something I did, very simple thing to mitigate this risk. I simply bought all of my Bitcoin things online and I shipped them to a PO box. Or I mean, if you want to throw a friend or a family member under the bus, you could deliver it to their home. Probably not the best or advisable solution there. Don't throw your friends and family members under the bus, but maybe just deliver it to a friend, or let's just call it what it is, an acquaintance. Okay, no, in all seriousness, don't do that. But you don't have to buy a hardware wallet online and ship it to your own home. Great point, Michael. There are solutions. You could even order it to like your university. Like you're not necessarily putting your university at risk if you have thousands of people going there, you know? There's always a solution. Great point, Michael. You are correct. Don't give away your home address. UWU makes a great point. Presenting a problem without having a solution is unproductive to say the least. There may be some risk with buying a hardware wallet online, but nothing in life is zero risk. So what is your suggestion? This is what I love this comment because I commonly say the world is full of problem identifiers, but the world is scarce of solution givers. Everybody talks about problems, but nobody talks about solutions. This is why I don't talk about politics. I just don't care. I mean, I don't want to be another whiny bitch. I already whine enough as it is. But again, why talk about problems if you don't have a solution? If you don't have a solution to a problem, why talk about it? Why focus your energy on something negative? Again, this video could be construed as being slightly negative. Oh, look out. Coinbase might not be as safe as most people think. That is true. And I know some other people will make videos like this. Crypto people will make videos on this topic. But what's the solution? I'm trying to give you guys the solution. Self-custody your Bitcoin. Be aware. Watch these changing goalposts. Do not trust the experts. The experts have been wrong. The experts with hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter have been wrong. I'm trying to show you all of this in this video so you can be more informed and hopefully be aware of the solutions that are present, to all of the problems we're identifying in this video. Statwise makes a great point. Little bit of a news update. We'll call it a tech update. Phoenix Lightning Wallet is back in the US. Congrats to Phoenix. My US friends have got another Lightning wallet they can use. Let's run through one of these hypothetical thought experiments I do want to run through today. I promise you guys at the beginning of today's stream, we would talk about hypothetical thought experiments surrounding a Coinbase endgame. What happens if Coinbase is found to be selling paper Bitcoin? What happens if they are drained of all the Bitcoin? Let's talk about short-term, long-term, and medium-term impacts of this. So we do know today Coinbase only has around 300,000 to 400,000 Bitcoin sitting on their exchange. They've lost about 700,000 to 800,000 Bitcoin in the past 2 years. Now, when FTX, the largest exchange in the world at the time, it was one of the largest, $50 to $60 billion market cap, blew up. What happened was it actually blew up right at the bottom of the Bitcoin market. So what happened was it actually blew up as Bitcoin was here at $16,000 underneath 20K. We were only under 20K for 60 days. And a lot of people said, oh, FTX is blown up. We're going to $9,000. We're going to $3,000 to liquidate Michael Saylor. This is what a lot of people say. It didn't happen. It marked the bottom because FTX was out of Bitcoin to sell, to naked sell Bitcoin. So again, what would happen if Coinbase blew up? Well, they're nearly out of Bitcoin. So Coinbase users would obviously be screwed in this hypothetical situation. That they would obviously not have the Bitcoin that they thought they had. Like FTX users today, they're still waiting to receive their Bitcoin. And I believe FTX users are going to be screwed because even if you had one Bitcoin in FTX when it blew up, when Bitcoin was at $16,000 a coin, doesn't matter if Bitcoin's at $75,000 today, they're paying you back in the value of the Bitcoin when the exchange blew up. So they're not going to give you $75,000 in cash. They're giving you $16,000 in cash. They're not returning the Bitcoin in the form of what it should be, the native Bitcoin. So hypothetical thought experiment number one, if Coinbase blows up, I don't think it will have a massive impact on the price of Bitcoin. FTX kind of proved this. FTX probably contributed to the selling that pushed Bitcoin under 20K. But it didn't crash Bitcoin 80% overnight, like a lot of people think it might. And I think those people who use Coinbase will be screwed in this hypothetical thought experiment. Now, what about a 6102? It's another thought experiment. But I'm going to get to that after I answer a few more comments. Buck 52,000, I think all exchanges up to no good. Never read the Coinbase user agreement. Most people don't. They're hundreds of pages. Wonder why. Almost like they don't want you to read it. Again, a lot of people were surprised when FTX went bankrupt, they thought, I got a Bitcoin on FTX. They'll give me back my Bitcoin eventually. Just got to go through the court system. Oh, no, 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 no. You're getting paid back in the cash value of your Bitcoin at the time of bankruptcy. $16,000 is all you're getting. You're not getting $75,000 if you held one Bitcoin on FTX. Again, I'm not an expert in that matter, so someone please correct me in the chat if I am a little bit misguided on that. But that is, I believe, how that situation unfolded. Look at that comment. The chart today gave me a bit boner. That's electric. Let me have a look at the charts. I'm going to have a look at the chart of Bitcoin. Are we pumping? I want a bit boner. Oh, hello. Hello. Look at that thing poking out. That's a green dildo. That is. Have a look at that. That's a bit boner. Hang on. Really? Bitcoin just bumped $10,000? What? Not bad at all. Not bad at all, my friend. That is a bit boner. Great comments, whoever said that in the chat. Look at that chart. Dripping in them. I don't even know if I can even say his name on YouTube. Let's call him Drippin. Great comment, Drippin. That gave me a bit boner too. Speaking of answering as many comments as I can, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me for a little while here for a, let's call it a solution to the live stream shenanigans that often go on here in YouTube. And again, I'm, let's just call it what it is. I am just as scared as getting, I am just as scared as being censored as most people are surrounding getting kicked off YouTube for some of the things I say. Maybe bit boners not allowed. Who knows? This is again why I've created this little Skool community. Highly recommend you guys check that out and join that Skool community. Going to be hosting maybe once a week live streams with you guys, answering all your Bitcoin questions. I know a lot of people also have questions surrounding how they can make money online and travel the world, like I've been lucky enough to do over the past 3 years. Again, I haven't returned to my gulag in Australia for 3 years. So I know a lot of people are interested in those topics as well as Bitcoin, as well as just having a more private live stream where I can spend more time answering your questions. Again, there's 842 of you guys tuning in between Twitter and YouTube. Because you're on the live stream, you're going to get the secret sauce free. This Skool community is still free right now. Go and check it out. Skool's really cool because I can create this community now for free. You guys can join it. And if I ever get too busy to the point where I have to put a paywall on this thing, you guys will be free for life. So you'll never have to pay. So again, check it out. Highly recommend you check it out. All Night Hider has even popped a link in the live chat for you guys to go check it out. It's also linked down below in the description. Oh, great comment. Oh, I have to hit this comment before I run through my last hypothetical thought experiment. Arson says, what social media platforms are you on, Luke? Funny enough, I actually use Instagram more than anything else. If you guys also, I'm actually planning on doing a ton of Bitcoin content, like kind of exclusively on Instagram, like as breaking news happens. I actually post it on my stories. So I'm planning on doing a lot more of that. I don't know how the hell to share my Instagram, but if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you're going to get some also a lot of Nomad relating updates. I just did a 72-hour Bitcoin challenge here in Peru, and most of that has already been posted on my Instagram, but you'll notice it hasn't made it to my Twitter or my YouTube yet. So if you want the kind of the news as it happens, so to say, check me out on Instagram. I'm going to be posting all of that stuff as it happens. There's a QR code. There you go. You guys follow me on Instagram if you want the Bitcoin updates as they happen, and just follow along with my craziness that is happening. So there you go, Arson. Other social media platforms. I'm on Rumble as well. Stream on Rumble. Instagram, Twitter, I use a little bit. I'm actually going to Mexico next month, Paulo. So another great comment. I'm actually going to be hosting a very interesting 2-day tour in Mexico, where we're going to be going to one of the wonders of the world. So if you're interested in hanging out for a couple of days, maybe being a part of a little mastermind, little retreat, going to one of the wonders of the world with this crazy kid, maybe DM me, message me on Instagram or Twitter. Let me know if you'd be interested in a little bit of a two-day trip, so to say, in Mexico, because I will be there first or second week of May at this stage. So interesting question there. I'm not going to reveal why I'm going to Mexico, but let me just tell you, it will be a part of some sort of world record that I'm trying to break this year. I've emailed the Guinness Book of World Records. I'm told that the record I want to break is possible. So I'm going to be in Mexico City, also checking out some Bitcoin peer-to-peer communities in Mexico. If you want to be a part of that, message me. So many good comments. Guys, seriously, it's crazy. I cannot answer all of them. Here's a good one by X. We need to get to 10 or $12 trillion market cap to stabilize volatility. I was laughing at another comment there. McLovins get wild. I don't even know if I could say that. I actually think volatility is going to remain much higher than most people think, for much longer than most people think. I actually think Bitcoin's still going to be incredibly volatile at $100 trillion market cap. Maybe when we get to like $300 to $400 trillion market cap, I think that's when volatility will begin to slow down. But those people talking about diminishing returns today, I strongly disagree with that. Bitcoin's a $2 trillion market cap. It's got a total addressable market cap of $900 trillion. I just don't think Bitcoin's going to grow by $2 trillion every 16 years and slowly but surely make its way to its fair value of being worth 50 trillion or 100 trillion. That's incredibly conservative. Bitcoin at 100 trillion, it's less than 10% of the world's assets. Well, it's 12% of the world's assets. I think it's worth a lot more than that. So again, I just think volatility is it's actually going to be much higher than most people think. Omega candles are just the beginning. In my recent interview with Samson, I asked him what comes next after an Omega candle. Stay tuned for that interview. I know Samson doesn't do a lot of interviews anymore, so I was lucky, very, very lucky to get a hold of him. All right, second hypothetical thought experiment I promised I would run through at the beginning of today's video. What would happen if America 6102'd Coinbase's Bitcoin? It'd be great for America because we know Coinbase is squatting on is sitting on a ton of Bitcoin. So this would make America a global leader when it comes to Bitcoin if they were to somehow get their hands on the Bitcoin in self-custody at Coinbase Prime. So again, I think that would be incredibly volatile. And again, when nation states change the laws of the monetary system, we don't get a say in it. Nixon temporarily suspended the convertibility of gold to the US dollar. You can't take your paper notes back to the banks today and get your gold back. The rules were changed. So I think, again, the little guy's going to be screwed when those rules are changed. Prepare for it and get ahead of it. Accumulate your Bitcoin while you still can, because there is really not that much Bitcoin sitting on exchanges today, which is why I firmly believe that you're not going to need that much Bitcoin to retire today. Now, I actually did a video earlier, 2 days ago now, talking about how much Bitcoin you need to retire. And in the top left-hand row of what I'm about to show you, you could see I made the case for why 0.0037 Bitcoin would be enough to retire on a Bitcoin standard, assuming that a Pareto's principle distribution is applied onto Bitcoin. Again, that's about $300 worth of Bitcoin today. And if you do want to watch that video, I'm going to put a link to that one after this live stream is finished, right about there. That's going to take you straight to it. And it's also